And alright, final episode of how it works. And on this episode, we're gonna talk about some of the more strange texts that I haven't talked about in the other videos. We will start with what I call the curve break. So this doesn't have an actual name, but I decided that the curve break sounds more or less realistically what you are doing, because that's what exactly you're doing. You're curving, and then you break that by flicking into the transfer angle. So let's see how that looks with our FPS wheel here, right? We got an FPS wheel. So let me lower the quality of the music, because we're gonna lag on our FPS, and we don't want that. So we're going to this bounce because this bounce actually uses two tricks on this, that I want to talk about. So we're gonna talk about two tricks at the same time. So there will be a lot of bounces where you will need to look right with 250 in order to gain your speed back, right? And you will notice from your own as well, especially if you use the speedometer a lot, that your momentum to another direction will be way faster if you go to that direction more smoothly rather than flicking to that direction directly. Like it's, doing this would be good for some bounces if you did it early enough. Like if I did it like here, it would be insane. But if you want to do it more consistently, you would have to like turn smoothly like that. And that would make the direction way more smooth. So that's one thing, right? Because a lot of people will only do this when it comes to these type of bounces, and it's not wrong most of the time, but there will be those bounces where you will need a lot of speed and momentum to the right, for this case for example, before bounce, and you will not be able to get it whatsoever because you're doing this. So in my opinion, if you do this flick, get through the transfer angle first, so like look forward almost, and then flick. And that will make it so that you gain way better momentum to the right, because you have gone through the transfer angle and you have told your speed, I want to go forward. Sorry, my neck is a bit sore from yesterday and today, too much smoke. So basically that's one thing. Now the other thing is the curve breaking. And I feel like I'm so cursed because every time I say curve, I'm thinking of like the fucking meme with curve spanking that I did on April 1st, and I'm like actually so cursed. Anyway, when you're doing this curve break that we talk about, what you want to do is I'm gonna show this in slow motion first so that people understand. So you want to use the 3, right, until here, let's say. You don't want to use it all the way, you want to use it to like the middle of it. And then you want to flick on the transfer angle like this. And what this does is it will transfer all your speed forward. And you can even do this with 250. So if you like do 3-2, and then you flick to the transfer angle like that, that will also work. It will not be as effective because the direction of your speed is more to diagonal, because you have strafed a lot before the curve break itself. But the idea will be the same, and you can get similar results by doing this. But overstrafing, as you can see, kills your speed completely, so we have to be careful to not overstrafe at any cost. So let's combine the two tricks now. You see that? That's what the curve break is, visualized in an FPS wheel, basically. Amazing, isn't it? Turn far enough. There we go. So curve breaking is just a flick from the middle of the 3-3 angle do the 250 transfer angles. That's all there is to it. It's nothing more complicated than doing this, basically. That's all that there is to it. That's the curve break. And the result of it is a rapid change of direction in your speed to the forward angle, basically. And it's very useful in balances like the one I showed, and there is quite a lot of bounce on maps that focus a lot on height bounces, like MP Proceed, MP Sunsets, MP what do you call it? MP Dawn V2. Like there is quite a few maps that you can use this type of tech and use the transfer angle to your advantage. So that's one of them. And now we're gonna go to the second part of the video, where it's gonna be about sliding. So we're gonna go to the only slide in this map. And I can say that I'm proud to say that I am one of the better players in this game when it comes to slide bee hopping in general. And if I had to say what slide bee hopping is all about, it's about the momentum. Like in general, momentum is the most important thing when it comes to slide bee hopping. So we do not need an FPS roulette here to showcase this. So how to slide consistently, right? Most of the people you're seeing, you probably do something like this, where they go to 50 and then they like, look very far on the wall and they do that. So this is not actually like the most consistent or the best way to do it. So as we saw, 1272 speed, if I try to get a bit more, 1286, that's fine. Now, we can get even more speed if we just do the same, but instead, we add 1 to 5 before the wall and drop on top of it. For some reason, and I'm not really sure why that is, doing 1 to 5 on the wall, not only does it make it more consistent, but you also gain more speed from it, arguably. Like most of the time, sliding with 1 to 5 gives you way more speed. So what is the main difference in terms of using 250 and 1 to 5 in these types of slides, or in slides in general, you know? So why would I ever use 250 instead of 1 to 5? So the main reason would be that with 250, you can actually change your angle way faster than with 1 to 5. If you slide with 1 to 5, the slide would only let your speed go forward for like a while. So I don't know why that is. I'm not really sure. But for example, in this slide right here, I want my speed to go forward, so I will want to use 1 to 5 before. But if the bounce was like way further to the left, look at this. Like even if I do the same with 1 to 5 without switching like that, I'm way further right than I was before. I was actually like fairly close to the bounce, while with 250 slide, I am not even close. I'm like going somewhere, I guess, right? So this is way more noticeable when you get a bounce that is actually very far and you hit it very far in. But I can't think of something on top of my mind to go and try this out to show you properly. Maybe on Gold's map, but now there is actually another thing that I can show you. So if we go to Inter Plus, at some point on the Inter Plus way, there is this very huge drop into a slide. This is also on MP Aerodynamics somewhere, but I don't have the map to show you this and showcase it there as well. Also, I haven't really tried it there, so I don't know how much it will work, but I'm pretty sure it will. Like, it makes sense. So, two things to get a slide going on properly. Also, what is that down there? What are you? I guess this is something from Anvil, because there is no... Anyway. There's one more over there. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. if we want to slide, so the first thing to do is we want to have any type of speed forward. Like any type of speed forward will do. Now the second part is that, you know, you want to use 1 to 5. 1 to 5 makes it so that you slide more consistently. But there is one more thing. So the lower the bounce is, the closer to like looking at the wall you want to be. So if we go like this, we want to like keep moving, even though we don't gain any speed, right? Because look at that. And this is consistent. This is actually consistent. If you want to slide more, like, I don't even need to like move my mouse like that. I can just look like here and it will slide me. Like, I'm pretty sure the only reasons I'm not sliding this every single attempt is because I'm too far away from 0.0. And physics of the game get very wonky when you're like too far away. But generally, the more left you look towards the wall, the more consistently it will slide you. Especially when it's like further down. And I think this is like something that not any of the people know. And you can try this for yourself. I know it looks like I'm coping here like very hard. And that this is only like a placebo. But this is true. If I try to slide this like this, it will take me way more attempts, and this is, you know, this is like normal. I could slide like this on the other one, looking exactly here, it's just fine. But on this one, I can't. It's almost impossible. I did it like after 5 tries or whatever. It's actually like super hard. When the slide is like really far down, you have to get lucky in order to slide it properly. But you can like make your chances way better by just starting to look more left and like more towards the wall when it's this far down. So that's the second thing about sliding. And the third thing I'm gonna talk about is slide B-hops in general, or like B-hops in general, right? On this topic. So we're gonna go to one demo that I have over here. I believe that's correct, yeah. So recently I did, I have a clip on YouTube. Widget mode, please. I have a clip on YouTube where I have done this slide with using an RPG, 200 FPS on this third bounce right here, right? So I recently did it on the server without using either. But there is like one thing that I can talk about, like the whole thought process here and how I direct my speed in order to get a better and more consistent result on the slide itself. So I'm gonna lower the time scale. So here we get a sick B-hop, right? But because of this B-hop and because of the movement that I had before, we had like, you know, a lot of speed to the left. And I'm gonna showcase this again. So we have a lot of speed to the left, so I need to like do a really big WD and look right. But then I want to go to the left. So what I did is that I looked super far right and I did a big 333 to change my speed, but then I need to take all my speed back to the right side again. So instead, I need to once again turn to the left with 333 and start directing my speed to that way instead. And on these high amounts of speed, 250 switching does not work. After 2400 speed, you cannot switch with 250 FPS whatsoever. So instead, you need to spam 313 when you're at very high speeds and be hopping like that, and curve a lot slower. When you're at very high speeds, you need to curve very slowly. So we're gonna do a very small time scale here, and as you can see, I'm like b-hopping with almost 1 to 5 and then switching to 3 and going to the right. So now I'm going to the right and trying to get my momentum there. And the moment I start to see that my momentum is straight, I go to the left again. And then we edge slide this while keeping momentum with 15 FPS. And now we're back on 333. And here we just want to go. And we do WD-1-5 because, as I said, 250 doesn't work here. So even if I wanted to go sideways, I would need to do 3-2 to the right and then WD 1-5, right? And then another edge slide, and then here I run out of 3-3 angle. So I noticed that, and I turn to the right again, and then I almost immediately switch to 250 to gain speed again, while turning very, very slowly. So the two things from very high speeds in general and b-hopping, one of them is that you want your momentum to go a certain way, and the second one is you want to turn and curve slower than normal, because the angles will actually like accelerate you in the same manner, but without needing to turn as fast as you would normally do. And you could see this especially on the bot way, when if you ever like see Brony V2 on the server and you see somebody trying the bot way and trying to get like #1 time, because sometimes it happens, right? Or you can like ask for a bot to show this to you. Like, go watch them do the final bounce of the bot way. It's like a very, very big slide down into B-hop with like 2400 speed, and then they reach like 3000 something speed by the end. You will see that their turning is insanely small. Like, it's so slow. So yeah, we should like keep that in mind when we're doing b-hops like this, like the one I did, for example. Which will not be often, right? A lot of people pretty much don't care about this, but it's something that is good to know. And I wanted to talk about one more thing, and I don't remember which it is, which is kind of bad. Why do I not remember? So around 1.5 minutes later, I actually remembered, and we don't have to go through that painful process again. So what I wanted to talk about lastly was wall hitting. So I'm gonna go to Brony V2 once again to showcase this. So wall hitting in this game is done pretty much all the time, and I'm on time scale at 0.1, right? Yeah. Those changes from inspecting the demo. Can I move? Okay. Oh god. Yeah. This is the lags are because the map is too big and it's trying to render whenever you go inside a texture. Like we'll try to render the whole map and it lags sometimes. So don't worry about it. But we'll go to this bounce on the hard way because it's very common for people to get stuck here and find this extremely hard. Panay, I know you're watching this and you have been one of the people. I have tried to help you. You have been very close a few times, but I think this will help a lot. So, what is going on with wall hits? So, the wall hits have a very interesting and simple principle. So, when you're hitting the wall, the main tip that everyone gives you is that you should switch to 333 on the wall. And that is 100% true. Switching to 333 on the wall will help you keep your momentum and change to wherever you want very, very quickly. So that is obviously 100% true, no question about it. But now I want to talk about where the momentum is going. Because, you know, I say you keep your momentum, but where is the momentum going? So let's say that we had an imaginary plat behind this, like here, okay? Let's say we have a plat there. How I would want to hit that is we would like to bounce this very widely. And almost slam ourselves to the wall and then curve break and 333 to the right. So this would be like a good idea on what you would want to do if you wanted to land on a planet that was right here. And let's say you were like missing some speed to the bounce. You would want to try. Oh, you're like, okay, so I need speed to the bounce. So the idea would be hit the bounce more to the left, so you're touching the wall earlier, and also straight to the wall, so you get the momentum closer instead of further that way. But on this bounce, the exact opposite happens when you need to get as much of a forward momentum as possible. So what do? So what you want to do is obviously get through the transfer angle. Like, there is no question about it that we want to get through the transfer angle because the bounce itself is in front of us, right? That's pretty clear. But we also want as much speed forward as we can. So just hitting the wall with 250 and going through the transfer angle might not cut it. It might not be enough. Like, actually. Most of the time it won't. You see? We need as much forward speed as possible on the specific bounce. We cannot afford to use 250 and abuse the transfer angle until we hit the bounce. We need to actually 1-5 before the wall. And doing this will generate huge momentum forward. And you can see this on the amount of speed we keep after the wall hit. Because no matter what, the speed is going forward. It can't go to the left anymore and will have zero momentum to the right. So any speed you see when you hit the wall, all of it is going forward. So if we just do this with the WD250 and using as much of the transfer angle as possible without losing any speed, we go to around 721 speed. Now if I do the same, but I use 1-5 before the wall, $726, not the greatest example, let me try again. $745. Now that is a good example. So from 720 whatever to 745, and I'm pretty sure no matter how much I try, I cannot get a momentum speed of 745 on the wall. It's impossible. It's like, I would need to switch to 1-5 to get that, because the 250 transfer angle is simply not enough to do this for me. And that is because even if your speed is higher before you hit the wall, because it unironically could be, 250 is a much stronger FPS than 1-5. It's in fact double as strong. But it's not taking us to the correct direction. So we need to switch to 1-5 in order to tell our speed we want to go there. So, you know, we do the bounce. We try to get close to the transfer angle as early as possible after the bounce, and then we add 1-5 before we hit the wall, so that all of our speed translates forward. And this wasn't a great attempt, so I'm not landing. Yeah. But yeah, after that it's just simply, you know, try to get good hits so you don't lose speed by sliding up the bounce, and 747. Boom. Got it? So, wall hits in general in this game is all about your momentum and where you want to go. Because if we wanted to go this way, we would want less momentum forward. So we instead would try to go with as much left speed as we can to keep very low momentum forward and try to gain momentum this way by using 333 and WD. When we want to gain momentum forward instead, we want to do the opposite. We want to gain as much momentum and speed forward as possible with using 1-5 most of the time. And this also can be seen on this bounce on Mystic V3, that it's very, very similar to this, and was the idea behind that exact bounce that you see on Brony V2 was taken from this bounce right here. So this bounce right here has the exact same principle. if we try to do it with 250 in transfer angle only, we can do it. Like in this case, we can do it, but it's very difficult. But it's possible, for sure. Like a lot of people have done it, and a lot of people used to do it like this. And I think the walkthrough even showcases the same. But if we add a tiny 1 to 5 right before we touch the wall, we'd gain an insane momentum forward, and we can completely clear this bounce every single attempt. And a lot of people first time trying this bounce, especially back in the day, would think that this bounce is extremely difficult. And, you know, to no surprise, because you are not actually gaining momentum to where you want to go. You are gaining momentum to the right, which is gonna be completely stopped when you touch the wall and transfer forward. So you want to get as much momentum forward as possible before you touch the wall. You see? I think it's like very simple, but you have to kind of understand geometry behind it, right? And like the direction that the speed will actually give you the most speed from. Also, is this bounceable? This is bounceable. Oh yeah. Wait. Ah, fuck! I didn't save. Ah, no. Ah, no. I don't know. But yeah, the same thing is here. Like, this is why on this one we slam ourselves to the wall very hard, because the whole point is that we want to go this way. If we wanted to go diagonally, we would slam ourselves like this and try to go there. And this is like oversimplified to understand why the whole idea of wall hits works like this. But yeah, the only other thing is that, you know, the idea behind trying to, let's say, you know, do I commit height or do I commit speed? And this is like the perfect balance to understand this. So there is supposedly 2 techs on this one. One of them is doing 3-2 only, and then 3-3, hold D, and then, you know, try to get on it. But this is way harder, and it is way harder because 250 cannot, well, commit to a new direction of speed as well as 3-3 can, which is why we want to use it before wall. But, you know, the whole idea behind this is that, oh, we're going to use 3-3 before the bounce, we're going to lose height. But this is not actually a height bounce. If we try to bounce without using RPG, we're going to see that we already get the height barely. So with RPG and 3-3, we are easily clearing it, which would make this tech more appropriate. But if the bounce was this way instead, and it was a bit higher, 3-2 only before would be better, because height would be much more important than getting speed. Alright? And I think that's all. I don't think there is like anything that I'm missing. I don't think there is any other like implications of a wall hit that you would want to, like, you know, abuse better. But I mean, yeah, there is nothing much else to do. Just like remember that depending on where the wall is, your direction of speed will get cut from one direction. So if we try to go here, when moment we hit this wall, we will not have any more speed to the left, ever. So we need to get as much speed forward as possible before hitting this wall to make this bounce. Simplifying it in your head so you understand, and then you can like understand, oh, that's why I'm feeling it, because I need to do this, and it's because like I'm over strafing 250, I'm going into 1-5 angle, so then my forward momentum gets fucked like that, you know, and I don't gain enough, and that's why I'm failing it, which is what I was trying to actually explain to Penny when he was doing this bounce, and or not this bounce, you know, the bounce in Brony V2, but it was like, I don't know if it was hard for him to understand that, like, what he was doing wrong or what he was trying to achieve in order to do the bounce. But, you know, I'm hoping this helps, honestly. Like, you may say this is like direct to Hane, but I'm pretty sure a lot of other people would have a similar issue that he does. So yeah, I think this will conclude the video and the series in general. I hope the videos that I made through this series were helpful, and I hope that you guys are satisfied with this instead of like an actual tutorial video, because obviously a lot of people would love to see a tutorial video from me, but it would be too much of a hassle to do it. I mean, you would have to edit for like 2 weeks to explain absolutely everything, and I don't have that much free time in my hands anymore, especially since I'm gonna start working by either by the time this gets uploaded or like a few days later, right? So yeah, I think this will do. I think this is like way more healthier because going through all the basics is something that I do not want to do, and I like focusing on stuff that are more difficult to understand and require a bit more game knowledge and all that. So that's why I made this series in the first place, and I truly hope you enjoyed it, and I truly hope that the whole series was helpful to a lot of people, and that I see more and more people actually trying to get better at the game and having more fun because of these series. So yeah, once again, I thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video.